Hello and welcome. This is Musicians in Isolation with Julia Chaplina. And today I'm talking to Noriko Ogawa, wonderful pianist, professor of Gilcombe School for Music and Drama. Delighted to have you here. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Julia. Very nice to see
you. Thank you. And how are you and how has the lockdown been? Tell us a bit about it.
The lockdown experience has been not too bad for me, but when it actually happened, it was a very strange experience. A few days before the official UK lockdown happened, Guildhall School of Music, they had to shut down the building. And I was still teaching, and the head of music department, Jonathan, walked towards me and he whispered to me and he said, "We have to shut down the building in a couple of hours. Just don't tell the students just yet. We're going to announce officially." And then I thought, my goodness, something serious is going to happen. And that was the first time I thought, I have to take this rather seriously. And that was a few days before my project piano duo concert was due. So I was enthusiastically teaching all the students in the building. So I felt so sad. And then I still remember the students was looking back and they said, "Is it that serious? Is it that serious?" And that's how they left the building. And so that was very strange. It's a kind of day that I will never forget about in my life. But then when the official lockdown, the whole of the UK started, of course, I felt very sorry for all the people that were coming down with COVID-19. But for me personally, it was quite an eye-opener. I keep traveling between London and Tokyo constantly, and my body is always jet lagged. And after so many years, I realized that I actually have a body clock that when it's dark, I go to bed, and when it's light, I wake up. And I didn't have this kind of routine naturally for so many years. So that has been, for my own health and all that well-being, it has been quite nice, I have to say.
Wow, that is extraordinary. That is extraordinary. You are. I must say, I admire people like you because I hate jet lag and I always am very jealous and as I said, admiring people who can cope with this. So huge, huge respect for this. Just tell us a little bit also, you of course had, many concert cancels. I saw you were due to play Rachmaninov Concerto also in Japan, a lot of it. Tell us, how is it in Japan? Because countries actually react differently. Yeah. So, and you have a great, I think, insight about Japan for that. And we all know about the UK. So could you tell us a little bit how Japan reacted?
Well, the Japan was very nervous in the beginning when it all started in January,
Mm-hmm.
because we are geographically very close to China and Korea. So we were very nervous that we had a kind of mild lockdown much earlier than in the UK. So when I came back to the UK in early March, people were saying, "Oh, well, we are very sorry about Japan, that you have to do this and that, the other," but actually the number of the tested positive cases were really still very low. And then the UK lockdown, Japan started to lift some of the restriction. But then they sort of, no, we have to re-lock down. So in late March, no, in late April, they really started to go this kind of a bit more strict lockdown, but not complete lockdown, because in Japan we are not really able to ask people to really stay home. The government is not able to give this as an order. It's
Mm-hmm.
just by law. So they just suggested that this advice that we stay home. And but because of this national character which is really quite serious going, we took it so seriously that, and then also the people always wash hands. It's a big part of our culture. And also we are not very physical. We don't hug people. We don't shake hands very often either. Somehow the positive cases stayed really quite low. So actually it is, as for today, the 26th of May, Japan has opened up.
Mhm.
I mean, the lockdown has been lifted.
Yes.
So lots of things, the restaurants are reopening. They are now open much later than before. Department stores have reopened, but not the concert halls yet.
Yeah.
We are going to see how things are for the next 2 weeks, and then after that it will start to build the to go back to them a bit more everyday life. But yes, it's this our serious characteristic has worked really quite a lot, I think. WHO is saying why Japan stayed so low with positive cases, they don't know. So
Really.
we can't really work out how.
But I think it's, I've been many times and I've played, and it's an amazing country where everyone is respecting the rules very, very much. And everyone is also very, um, I would say, tidy and clean, and, and has a lot of privacy as well. And, I think that it's extraordinary. And I'm sure that is also the case, with this, and everyone
Oh
was,
yes,
yeah,
I think so. I think so
yeah.
that we are very, yes. The self hygiene is a big part of our life, so that's probably it. And then also that we are, people are very nervous about the COVID-19 thing.
Hmm.
So you know, th- even though that the lockdown is very mild, people took it very, very seriously. So
Seriously, yeah.
yeah. So
And
but going back to concert halls, we need a bit more time.
sure. So that's what I was going to ask next. So, what do you think? What is going to be the next step? Is that people are going to go to concerts, or do you think people will stay and watch more live things? What is your feeling? And maybe you can talk about both the UK, because you of course live here too, and Japan. So if you think there would be different reactions.
I think people are generally very open-minded about how the classical music or music world in general should go. Um, to be real, if we are realistic about this, everybody knows that it's very difficult to have orchestral concerts
Yeah.
and then 2 3 thousand people in a concert hall. All the doors will be shut, everything is air conditioned, and it's not realistic at the moment, and everybody can see that. So that will take a bit more time. um Personally, we are very lucky that in the pianists we can actually do piano recitals, and as long as there is a piano, we can be quite alone in a concert hall. So piano recitals will be one of the first to be tested. And also, it's not easy to fill 2,000 seats with one piano recital. So also, realistically
Yes.
speaking, we can actually have this social distancing concert halls with maybe 200 people in 2,000 seat concert halls and
Hmm.
things like that. So that kind of, pianists will be the first ones to be guinea pigs, and and then to experiment how classical music can go. And also, I think there will be a huge growth in internet concerts world.
Yes.
For example, not everybody can go walk up to Berlin Philharmonic or Wigmore Hall. So there must be so many people who want to go to concert halls, but not really realistic for several reasons. So those people can just log on to some concert halls and also some concerts from musicians' living rooms. And this has been really quite attractive to see professional pianists' pianos, for example. Our pianos are not always perfect, and
Yes.
and then it's not everybody has heard the piano with broken strings or restrung, that they're not so stable, and then it would be quite an amusing opportunity for general public to see, to walk into our living room or to our personal music rooms to see realistic pianos of professional pianists, and that could be a kind of little room for little entertainment. So I think um, this kind of stereotypical big concerts will take time to come back, but there will be many more opportunities, smaller opportunities, if COVID-19 is virus, we can actually grow like amoeba, and we can actually start creating little things like that, and then we can actually reach out to so many people's living rooms. So I don't think this is only just disaster. I think I'm sure we'll work out, and then also this could be big opportunities for young pianists who are so brilliant with computers and all this cyber world, and that they can actually be quite creative. So I think music venues will grow in both ways. From piano recitals, maybe because I'm a pianist, so I the center is a piano. So piano recital can start growing into both worlds, realistic big concert halls, from smaller to bigger concert halls, and also piano recital into cyber world, and little from a living room to another living room, that sort of area. So I think we can go both ways. That's how I see it. It will take
Fantastic.
time, but I think it
Yes.
will happen.
But it's so nice that you're optimistic and you stay positive about it. Some people are more negative, but I think indeed pianists are in a privileged position. However, I must ask you, because I think this creates a very interesting discussion, because of course people are now used to live stream. I mean, by now loads of people live stream. However, it's a lot comes of it for free. So how do you think, or what do you think is important, or how we can get that balance between the playing to attract maybe attention and to keep the profile versus getting actually paid for recitals?
Yes, well, that's a bit of an issue. It could be an issue. I have read it. I have seen some. This is not the necessarily concerts, but I heard some restaurants or nightclubs they are doing in Tokyo. They are actually asking for some kind of membership fee, and then they can just drink what they like, and they can eat what they like. But just a kind of this venue to meet up,
Mhm.
there is a kind of membership fee, and I think this kind of thing could actually work for music world as well, that you pay some membership fee in order to get into Mr. Such and Such, the piano living room,
Mhm.
or piano room with some broken strings, and this could be fun. So that you know um free streaming, I do have a problem, because for playing performances, performing, it is our livelihood. So we will have to draw a line at some point, and I think people will have to respect that as well. So I think the people will come up with some kind of ideas, and then also that we musicians will have to, oops, sorry, that we musicians will have to draw a line somewhere, and then start saying that, look, this is a professional thing, and then we also have to eat as well. So yeah.
Sure. Sure. Have you had any sort of engagements or any discussions about online concerts for concert halls already, or is it still on hold for you?
um Well, my next engagements, that my immediate engagements up until July, have been all completely cancelled. Some of them have been redated, but then like next year or year after. But there are some concerts lined up in July, and that will be in my hometown in Japan. And they have already done some live streaming concerts, and then people can actually donate some money through the kind of some sort of internet way. And I'm due to play two concerts this summer there. So there might be some sort of live streaming, or kind of videoing, and then um streaming later on, or something like that. I think that would be some kind of option. But one never knows. Maybe we might actually be able to have maybe 100 people in this 2,000 seat concert hall. I
Mm.
don't know. But so that the beginning of July, and then also later in July, in the summer festival there, um, everything is open. but we have that kind of live streaming, no audience in the recording, and put it on the internet or whatever. All that option is open. Yes.
Noriko, thank you very much. I was going to ask you, so moving a little bit back to your teaching, what you started with, at Guildhall, and I know you teach a lot, and I have watched a couple of your master classes. It's really a wonderful teaching. So I guess you have quite a mix of students, right? I think you have some people, from the Southeast Asia, and you have some British people. So how were they affected? If you have people now studying with you, do they have online lessons with you, and how is it for you? Is it challenging?
Well, I have been very lucky this year. My students have been absolutely so wonderful with me. So after the lockdown, they all went home. Only one student remained in the UK, but everybody else went home. And one of them is in Australia, one in China, two in Japan, one in Spain, and one in the UK. And we meet up on the net and one-to-one. And also that I have created a project concert which is happening online on the 25th of June.
Mhm.
So I just keep seeing them every week, and again, because before the lockdown, I always had to travel to all sorts of places. So if I travel out of London, I just had to leave them behind. But now it doesn't matter where I am. I just reach out to them by online, and of course, there are some problems with sound. Sometimes the internet freezes. Sometimes the piano sound gets a bit distorted. But I am there for them all the time. So we are actually having a very good progress, ironically. And every week we meet, and we have lessons, and I am able to spot wrong notes or phrasing or fingering. I can watch them very carefully, and we are making a very good progress. All my students were given a choice that that of life lessons in autumn later
Mhm.
on,
Mhm.
or just carry on, and none of them deferred their lessons. They are very happy to see me online. So I have been very lucky, I have to say. But I strongly believe, even it's by internet, we should really make the most of it. Even it's not perfect, it's better to see them,
Sure.
and even it's and then because it's internet, and because I don't want my students to think, oh, Noriko is not concentrating or something like that, I concentrate even more, and I really watch them. And my students, when they're playing, and they very often they do this, they are making sure that I'm looking,
Wow.
and it's
Mhm.
very sweet. And then when I check their fingering, I do very close to the screen, so they know that I'm watching very carefully. So we have got a very strong bond. And then also that because I've connected all my students online, and my students are from as young as 19 to, I don't know, mid 20s in their PhD, and they have now all become friends. So that's also very nice to see. So there are so many nice things. Of course, live lessons are the nicest. Of course, practicing and then playing on the big grand pianos are the best. But if the situation is like this, we just have to make the most of what we've
Sure.
got.
Sure. Also interesting for me. So, a lot of younger people are now online. And as a result of it, I think, because the classical music also went online, there are more younger people watching classical music, which is a big plus. So do you think that actually we would have more audiences in concert halls whilst when it's all going to be over that are going to be of younger age and coming? Or do you think it's just people who tend to watch at home, they will still watch at home?
Well, I think it. Well, actually, that's kind of now you've given me slight pressure because I think it would be very individual. You see, the ones that who've done very well on the net, and then young people will want to see them in flesh. So it's kind of both ways. I think the the ones that who can't go to concert halls, they will have a great time just watching online anyhow. But the ones that who are more active, and then they will they will pick and choose which pianists they want to see in flesh. So, um, you know, kind of competition, lifetime competition will carry on. And so, if we musicians, if we performers are very active and then got it right, and then we will, the ones that who got right will get more audience. I think so that, popularity will go up and down. I think probably differently, not necessarily who did the best in in a competition or an
Sure.
exam or something like that. So there will be even more options for general public to choose um, whom they like.
Yes, 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 I totally understand. But so very, very, very interesting you're discussing. I know you're with a very good agent also in London. How are they? I mean, so what are the agencies? Will they survive, do you think?
Well, again, that's depending on, the agencies, I think. Um, for me, working with an agent, having an agent is a pure collaboration, and they find me dates, and then I also find my days and things like that. But I always collaborate with my agent in the end, because I am not very good at paperwork. I don't like writing things before and after and things like that. So I asked my agent to do things like that. So I hope my agent is going to survive. I mean, survive through it. But we mustn't get too scared. We should just carry on, having a relationship with well, in my case, my agent. So whatever comes to me, I always speak to my agent, and that's a collaboration. They, anything which comes to them, and if somebody just mentioned my name, and then, they should let me know immediately. So I think it's just a matter of trust. And then if we have got good trust, they will always make sure that they mention my name. If I make sure that anything which comes to me, I speak to my agent, and then they will trust me. So it just works both ways, I think.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. But I think it's important, of course, to understand that it's difficult for everyone, even for musicians, and of course those who also organize concert. That must be really, really, really hard.
Oh, yes. And then especially the bigger the scale, more difficult it is.
Yes.
For example, I am worried about a lot of agents in Japan, for example, because
Mm,
we invite a lot of European musicians, and then also from America, from all over the world. But at the moment, if you're a foreigner, you can't go to Japan.
mhm.
It's a full stop. It doesn't matter if you are the best musician of whatever the kind. It's a red tape. The country is not receiving any foreign people.
Sure.
So, we were going to have big operas and big ballet companies and huge orchestra concerts and the tours in Japan, and those are completely cancelled. And I hate to know what the damage is. And
Yes.
that's just totally beyond me. So I don't really know. It's just out of, it's just, yeah, I really, I can't imagine.
In Japan, the population, quite a lot of the population is quite elderly. We all know that. And have maybe, have they got online to listen something, or are they just, reading books and thinkings? Because I feel there's a strong divide between younger people who are all online and older people saying, I will wait till the live concerts resume. So how it is there? Have you noticed that people are of a certain age are actually listening online, or are they saying, okay, we are fine without it?
I think in Japan, elderly people are waiting more. They are not very much at the computer. I don't think so.
Hmm.
I'm sure there are some exceptions, but in general, older people are not really near their mobile telephone or computer or cyberword. I don't think so. That it's just more younger people thing, I
Hmm.
think. Yeah, I still have got I have a mother who's quite elderly, and then she doesn't really use a computer,
Right.
and maybe she represents her generation very much, but I don't think my mother is an exception. Um, so she was very sorry that all my concerts were cancelled. Yeah.
Sure,
Mm.
sure, sure. Well, I think you sound very positive though, and it's so refreshing to see that, because I think we need a lot of positivity still, and hope that it will get better. Just really a final question: what is your prognosis? When do you think actually UK will start opening the concerts, and will it be only live streaming? You think, like the Wigmore Hall that does now, or do you think, because of course we all know that UK is very much relying on the funds from sponsors and ticket sales. Let's say Germany is of course state funded a lot. So what is your prognosis in terms of the UK, if you have any?
Well, not only just the UK, but in the whole world, I think, including Germany, I think we just have to wait for the appearance of trustworthy, the vaccination and medicine that we can trust. I
Mm-hmm.
think if those two come out, and then uh, the speed of going back will be very, very fast. But up until then, everybody will have to be very careful. It's just a matter of how the promoter thinks. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
happened to run a very, very small concert series back in Japan, and then I was going to do it in June, but I've postponed it. Why? Because I don't want people to say to me that, oh, I came to your concert and then I got it.
Yes.
I got it at your concert. I don't want them to say, and then if somebody said that to me, I will not be able to continue with my concert series. I would be so scared. So I think a lot of promoters will be really worried about that. So vaccination and medicine will be the first for me to say that, oh, it will, will go right back. Up until then, I think social distancing is going to be primary. So some orchestra concerts, smaller scale, might happen, but I think we will have to limit the number of people who can go in. And also that somebody would have to say that you're not going to complain even you got it. And then if you are able to specify where you got it, it could be a concert hall, but you're not going to complain.
Sure.
Somebody will have to come out and say that. So going back to kind of whatever it was like in 3 months ago, something like that, to go back to that level, I think it will take quite some time.
Right.
um
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very optimistic about that, because we have to be so realistic. I don't want my mm, you know
Yes.
my close people to tell me that, oh, it was your piano recital. I don't want that.
I'm sure, I'm sure. Well, look, thank you very, very much. It was a
Thank
pleasure. And you have given us so interesting insights, especially about the other country and about your also life. And it was just wonderful talking to you. Thank you
you
very
too.
much.
Thank you
Bye.
very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.